Attention, attention, attention. General public, Biafrans, Igbos all over the world. What a sad day to remember, and what a sad day to bring to us the activities that took place at the back of Klamakoski Correctional Center in Finland. Please, I beg you, in the name of anything you believe, pray for Mazi, S.Ekpa, the United States of Biafra Prime Minister, as he narrowly escaped death after the attack. You know, this information came to me earlier on, and I was a kind of doing some research to find out exactly what really happened. So I stumbled upon this video that talks similar thing that happened, because I read that news from Yale, YALE, that is a newspaper from Finland, or rather the local newspaper, if I may be allowed to use that word. So at first I was thinking that this is a propaganda, but when I read that news finish, I said, man, God will really save S.Ekpa, the Prime Minister of United States of Biafra, after all these years. But the question there now we're supposed to ask, what really caused the attack? Why is it at the back of Klamakoski that it chose to happen? Is there something that Finland are not telling us? Because there is a wave of resignation from Tulumbu's cabinet. And when you look very closely, you find out that all the whole people that are resigning from the cabinet are the ones who connived with the Finland, Alexander Stubborn, to jail S.Ekpa. You know, we are still waiting for Bianca Ono to tender her own resignation, because Abubakar Badaru was among those who attended that meeting with Alexander Stubb at the United Nations General Assembly that took place, I think 2024, if I'm not mistaken. Badaru have retired, or rather resigned. Who again? One other guy also have resigned. I think the picture that I'm going to show you while watching this video or this clip will tell you the ones who went for that who went for that joint getting, or whatever I may call it. But one surprising thing there is this: why is it that those ones from their counterpart, which is Finland, why are they not resigning? The question that left for all of us to answer. But before I proceed, I would like to play a clip for you, a clip that says it all, a clip that will dissect the message line by line, exactly what happened in Klamakoski Correctional Center. Please listen, and listen very attentively. Let me carry you to where you know, not where you don't know. Help me to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more interesting videos. Please share this message.
Imagine a quiet, frozen evening in the Finnish wilderness, thousands of miles away from the humid heat and bustling markets of the Nigerian southeast. Suddenly, being shattered by the screaming descent of military drones crashing right into the backyard of the prison holding the most talked about Biafran leader of our time. It sounds like something out of a high-stakes political thriller. The kind of movie you would watch on a Saturday night and think was a bit too far-fetched. But for followers of the Biafran movement and the millions of Nigerians watching the global stage, this is not fiction. This is the reality that unfolded recently at Klamakoski prison in Finland, a development that has sent shockwaves from the Baltic Sea all the way to the streets of Enugu and Aba. We are looking at a bizarre and terrifying intersection of the war in Eastern Europe and the internal political struggles of Nigeria. When you hear that military drones have crashed near a facility housing S.Ekpa, a man who has become a household name for both his followers and his critics, you have to stop and ask yourself, what is really going on? This is not just a story about a technical malfunction or a border incident in a Scandinavian country. This is a story about how small the world has become and how the safety of one man can suddenly be tied to the geopolitical tensions of superpowers. You see, for the average person in Nigeria, Finland used to be just another wealthy European country, a place known for its education system and cold weather. But over the last few years, because of S.Ekpa, Finland has become a central point of interest in the Nigerian political discourse. So when news broke that 2 foreign military drones had crashed in Finnish territory, specifically in an area that triggered a massive military response around the Kilamakoski prison, the Nigerian digital space went into a frenzy.
We still ask questions. Who is behind that attack? Well, some people will say, oh, maybe it is a debris of missile that have been shot in the Middle West, or Middle East. But I doubt that, my brother. I doubt that. Because anything APC and Nigeria cannot do does not exist. They have approved the borrowing of $6 billion as of yesterday by Akpabio, the rubber stamp Senate president. And there's no any project there's no any project at hand. All this money have been borrowed to sponsor terrorism and election malpractices. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow us on all our social media handles. We are still going to come back for more discussion over this matter. But first of all, continue listening to this authentic message I brought to us today, being the first day in the month of April and the year of 2026. April Fool to everybody, but you are not a fool.
It is important for us to step back and look at the landscape of this situation. We are talking about a prison that became a fortress overnight. The presence of Finnish military personnel on the ground following these crashes tells us that this was not a minor event. Finnish President Alexander Stubb had to come out personally to address the nation and the world. He confirmed that at least one of these drones was of Ukrainian origin. Now think about that for a second. We have a Ukrainian drone falling out of the sky in Finland near a prison where a high-profile Nigerian-Finnish political figure is being held. The president assured everyone that there is no immediate threat to Finland, but his words were likely meant to calm the nerves of the Finnish public, rather than explain the complex layers of concern for the Biafran people. To understand why this matters so much to us here in Nigeria, we have to talk about who S.Ekpa is and why his detention in Finland has been such a lightning rod for controversy. Since the detention of Nnamdi Kanu, S.Ekpa emerged as a dominant, albeit divisive voice in the quest for Biafran self-determination. Operating from his base in Finland, he used social media to command a following that is both vast and fiercely loyal. His influence is so significant that his sit-at-home orders could paralyze the economy of the Southeast for days. Whether you agree with his methods or not, you cannot deny his impact. When he was taken into custody by Finnish authorities last year, it was a turning point. Whether thought his influence would wane, but instead, the focus simply shifted to the legal and physical conditions of his stay in Finnish custody. So when drones start falling from the sky near his prison, it doesn't feel like a coincidence to his supporters. It feels like a threat.
Make it a habit, 7 minutes.
Let us dive deeper into the technical and geopolitical side of this drone crash, because that is where the real mystery lies. Finland recently joined NATO, a move that fundamentally changed its relationship with its neighbor, Russia. Since the start of the war in Ukraine, the entire region has been on edge. Drones are the primary weapon of this modern era, used for surveillance, sabotage, and direct strikes. For a Ukrainian drone to end up in Finland, it must have traveled a significant distance or been diverted by electronic warfare. There were reports of airspace disruptions and diverted flights across the region during this time, which suggests that someone's navigation systems were being heavily jammed. Was it a Russian jamming signal that sent a Ukrainian drone off course, or was it a test of Finnish air defenses? The Finnish government is trying to play it down, but the heavy military presence at Kilamakoski prison suggests they were taking no chances. They weren't just looking at pieces of broken metal, they were securing a high-value perimeter. Now, I want you to consider the perspective of the Biafran commentators and the common man on the street in Port Harcourt or Owerri who hears this news. They aren't thinking about NATO defense protocols. They are thinking about the safety of the man they call their leader. In the minds of many, S.Ekpa is a target. There have been calls for prayers echoing through social media groups and community gatherings. People are asking if this was an assassination attempt disguised as a military accident. While there is no concrete evidence to suggest that the drones were aimed at the prison specifically to harm Ekpa, the timing and location are enough to breed deep suspicion. In the world of international politics, accidents are rarely just accidents when they happen near people of interest. The fear is that in the crossfire of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, or through the deliberate actions of state actors who want Ekpa silenced, the prison could become a danger zone. The Finnish president, Alexander Stubb, is in a very delicate position. He has to maintain the image of Finland as a secure sovereign nation, while also managing the fact that his country is now a frontline state in the tension between the West and Russia. By confirming the Ukrainian origin of the drone, he is being transparent, but he is also highlighting how the war in Ukraine is spilling over borders in unpredictable ways. For Nigerians, this brings up a very uncomfortable question. Is the Finnish government capable of protecting S.Ekpa? If drones from a foreign war can crash near his cell, what else can happen? This incident has elevated the discussion from a legal battle about secessionist rhetoric to a matter of life and death in a global war zone. I think we also need to address the psychological impact this has on the Biafran movement back home. For years, the struggle has felt like a localized issue, something discussed in the Nigerian parliament or debated on local radio stations. But this event links the Biafran cause to the biggest global conflict of the 21st century.
Watch, like, share, and comment. Makade Amama. Continue watching. And thanks for watching as well.
It gives the movement a sense of international weight, even if that weight comes in the form of falling military hardware. It reinforces the narrative that the world is watching and that the stakes are higher than ever. When political commentators ask for prayers for Ekpa, they are tapping into a deep-seated feeling of vulnerability that many in the southeast feel. They see the detention of their leaders as a collective wound, and this drone incident feels like salt being rubbed into that wound. Let's talk about the atmospheric shift in Finland itself. This is a country that prized its neutrality for decades. Now, with military drones crashing on its soil and its prisons becoming the focus of international security concerns, the Finnish people are waking up to a new reality. The diverted flights and airspace disruptions mentioned in the reports are not small things. They represent a breakdown of the normal order. When you can't fly a commercial plane through your own airspace because of military drone interference, you are effectively in a gray zone war. And right in the middle of this gray zone war sits a Nigerian man whose followers believe he holds the key to their future. I think we also need to address the psychological impact this has on the Biafran movement back home. For years, the struggle has felt like a localized issue, something discussed in the Nigerian parliament or debated on local radio stations. But this event links the Biafran cause to the biggest global conflict of the 21st century. It gives the movement a sense of international weight, even if that weight comes in the form of falling military hardware. It reinforces the narrative that the world is watching and that the stakes are higher than ever. When political commentators ask for prayers for Ekpa, they are tapping into a deep-seated feeling of vulnerability that many in the southeast feel. They see the detention of their leaders as a collective wound, and this drone incident feels like salt being rubbed into that wound. Let's talk about the atmospheric shift in Finland itself. This is a country that prized its neutrality for decades. Now, with military drones crashing on its soil and its prisons becoming the focus of international security concerns, the Finnish people are waking up to a new reality.
I played that part over and over and over again so that you will understand what Finland have got themselves into. Normally, if what happened at Kilamakoski Correctional Center is a debris of missiles that are being sought in the Middle East, then there is a cause to worry, because it's not supposed to be so. If such a thing happens, then it means that the God want to take their own pound of flesh from Finland for doing the unthinkable. According to the speaker, he says, and I quote, that Finland used to be seen as a liberal country. They remain neutral, not engaging in all the fisticuffs or in all this brouhaha, shenanigans of geopolitics that is happening, that the kind the US, the UK, the France, and every other Western allies are playing in Africa. But now they have got themselves struck into the game, and I pray they will get out of it soon, or they will get out of it destructed. Because as it stands now, even the people Alexander Stubborn is leading are not even, they don't trust him. They have already passed vote of no confidence on him for a very long time, for a simple mistakes that are supposed to be avoided. Leave greediness, because you want to eat everything. Once you hear investment, come and take free money in Africa, you jump into it, not minding what it's going to lead to. I'm happy that this kind of thing is happening to Finland, so that other Western allies, the likes of Norway is going to collapse very soon if they cannot leave, or if they did not leave Cho Ayaba, the governing council of Ambazonia. Norway is going to fall, just like what is happening to Finland now. And every other country that have hands in what is happening to all the leaders in Africa that have been in prison for an offense that is not even worthy of sending somebody to go to meet a policeman or policewoman. Self-determination, which is their inalienable rights of every living being as long as this life is concerned. Now it has become a crime because it has to do with Africa. God is watching. Ka Chineke mezie okwu.